and support to approve the August regular meeting minutes and the August closed session minutes. Is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Okay, advance. At this time, it is time for our treasurer's report.
Was $1,539,596.39, with an ending balance of $1,557,088.56. Our food service had a beginning balance of $385,736.37, and an ending fund balance as of August 31st, $397,676.54.
Okay, is there any questions for Mr. Acom? Okay, thanks, Scott. Consider general fund invoices for payment. Matt.
All right. I'd like to make a motion to pay from the general fund checks 15915 through 15920 and checks 72123 through 7213 for $562,669.53. And from food services, checks 15965 through 15969 for $20,239.44.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Thank you, Matt. Moving on to reports and communications. Board President, I guess a couple things. First, I'd like to just say thanks to Ken for leading the meeting there last month in my absence. Appreciate that. Looks like everything went well. I think from what I can tell, Mr. Acom is getting acclimated to his position here in McBain, and we're happy about that. And just another note, something that's been kind of on my mind, not really school directly related, but I just, last Saturday morning, I took a little bit of time to watch TV and reflect on the news and the events of that day 20 years ago, and I just want to make sure that we never forget. Lost a lot of lives that day in our country, and it was a sad day. And so, as that was in the back of my mind, I just wanted to remember that. And I think that's all I've got. So, Mr. Acom.
Any questions for my report? Okay, it's been off to a good start. We're the fourth week into school, our first full week, and it was kind of funny this morning as car riders trickled in a little later than normal. I think people are starting to hit the snooze button a little bit more. But the staff, I'm very impressed with the staff at McBain Schools, always going out of their way to help out, step up, finding solutions as they see problems arise, but also being very proactive as they know something's going to happen and stepping in and helping with that, helping out, solving those problems. It's been very, very nice to see. Health department updates. The health department continues to send out updates They did just release another update regarding quarantining and masking, and I don't believe that at this time it affects our plan. I think we'll continue to go status quo with that unless we start seeing an uptick or mandates change. So, vaccine updates, I don't know if you had a chance to see the email that I had sent, but the president ordered last week for mandated vaccines for employers and employees of over 100. McBain Schools currently employs 135 people, which would affect us. I do think that there is a lot of, I guess lack for a better word, red tape to go through yet. I imagine there'll be some court, some litigation, but also some legislative changes as well. That's what I foresee happening. My understanding is that MIOSHA has 30 days in order to change their plan, update their plan to mandate vaccines. It doesn't sound like there is a plan for if you already have immunity or have the antibodies, it sounds like you still have to get vaccinated or test weekly. So there is that option of if you do not want to get the vaccine, you have to submit to a test every week. Again, currently that is a mandate. And I know that that's going to affect a lot of people. There's a lot of people that are in favor of the vaccine and against it, and we have to respect both sides of that. Our student count, we're currently at 1,029 students, which is slightly up from what we were planning on or budgeting for. So that's good news. 506, if I remember correctly, of those students are in our elementary. So our elementary classrooms are quite larger than our junior high and senior high classes, as far as class sizes. And that's really all I had for an update.
Scott, did we have, on the opening of school, did we have a vaccine clinic here?
We did. Was
that successful, or was there any particular?
You know, I never followed up with that. The McBain pharmacy helped us with that, and they were out in the parking lot. I can follow up with him, though, to see if there was vaccinations.
I'm just kind of curious whether there was any interest or not.
Yeah.
What's the update on the lighting project? I was kind of wondering about that.
Yep, so they actually came in this weekend, finished out 2 rooms. They've started on the gym here, and then also this hallway out here, as well as the weight room. I think it's going a little slower than they anticipated, but they are making progress.
Okay.
Any further questions for Scott?
I have one more, and it relates to the audit that we're going to talk about later. I think I mentioned this before, but you're going to meet with Scott on Wednesday. I think it'd be good for the board members to be able to get copies of that before the October meeting. Yep. Like maybe by the end of this month or something, just to look through. And it's kind of hard when he shows up and throws 200-page report at you and asks if there's any questions.
Sure. As soon as I have them, I'll have them available for you.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Anybody else? Okay. Thanks, Mr. Acom. On to our principals. Mr. Wisner, would you like to go first?
If this works. Whoa. Good evening. Good to see you all. We've had a good start to school, as I said in my board report. Just to highlight a couple of things, we did start NWA testing, and we did dibbles on our kindergarten, so we're getting slowly getting our data back on our kids, kind of seeing where they are with things. We always expect a little bit of a dip coming into the fall just because there's a little bit of summer loss, so we'll look at that, but just trying to get a baseline on our kids for the year so we can track their growth over the course of the year. And so for NWEA, we consider that our benchmark assessment, and so we do that for reading, math, and science. Enrollment is good. We are at 506, so we're very, very healthy in the elementary. Most of our grade levels have 3 classes to accommodate the students at each grade level, and we have 4 in second grade and then 4 in kindergarten. things are running pretty smoothly. We're working on PBIS and encouraging good behaviors with our students. Our new teachers are getting very comfortable, doing very, very well. Very pleased with those hires. Very pleased with how they've acclimated to McBain. They're doing a really nice job overall. Our veteran teachers are too, of course. And just really pleased with how the year has started. Kids are happy to be back. Lots of good feedback from parents. They're happy to have a more normal school year this year, and so it's been a good start. And it's hard to believe we're on week 4 already. So that's my update for you. Do you have any questions for me?
I'd like to compliment you on the reading that you're doing at night.
Yes.
I think that's very, very good.
Thank you. I've gotten lots of good compliments about that too,
Yeah,
so it's
that's
been fun
good.
to do.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you. Marcus?
Well, as David said, it's a busy 4 weeks, but a really good launch of the year in the middle school also. I've been just consistently impressed with the work that the staff is doing. This is the first time I've ever taken over a building where my predecessor was well-liked and effective. Normally, I end up taking over buildings that are in crisis, and this is a totally new experience for me, so I'm really enjoying it. The thing that I'm most excited about is the work that we did prior to the year starting with the staff to define our learner profile, which is very similar to the PBIS program that David referenced. And it's basically where we're spelling out what do we want a Rambler to look like, both for us as educators and also for our students. So we listed out some characteristics which include that Ramblers are goal-oriented, persistent, active learners, they're supportive, balanced, team players, and communicators. And then there are 2 things that I do with that profile. The first of which is that we really want to recognize when kids are meeting the expectations. When you see a Rambler who is living out these character attributes, I want to know about it. And they actually fill it out. It takes about 30 seconds. And it spits out an award in the office. I then call the student down. We take their picture. I call their parents, congratulate them, thank them for the work that they're doing at home. And already, I think I submitted in my report, I got a picture of this parent who posted, it was on Facebook already, but she shared it with the whole world and said, hey, it's the first time my son got called to the office and he's not in trouble. And so that's the kind of publicity that we really want. We want parents to know that we value that their children. We want them in school. We're proud of them when they make the right decisions. And when I do need to make a correction, when I've got a student who has been sent to the office for a different reason, I will reference these character attributes. And I'll say, hey, look, we're team players. And when you called this other student this name, that is not being supportive. You are not being a team player. Here's what we're looking for. So it's not just about punishing the things that we don't want to see, but it's also about recognizing the things that we do. So we had a big pep assembly that first week of school. I'm already planning our second one, and the kids are asking for that, which is really nice. It sounds like David used to do monthly pep assemblies that got cut short by COVID. So while we have the opportunity, we want to celebrate our school spirit and continue to foster those values that are such a good reflection of what McBain is as a community. So any questions I can answer about the launch of the school year? Okay, all right.
Thank you. Mr. Miller.
Good evening, everyone. Like the other 2 principals here, we're excited that we're already 4 weeks into this, and teachers have been doing a great job. I know the second weekend, everybody kind of looked at everybody else like, is this real? Are we moving through the year kind of semi-normal? And the answer is yes, and it just kind of feels a little weird, But the longer we have gone, I think the kids are settling in. They are making connections with their teachers. We are making connections with them. I do want to reference, the work that Becky has done, and especially in the high school. It's nice to have some extra support admin-wise with the support of 504s and some other oversight. And she's been doing a great job. It's just really nice to have another body who's very, very certified to do those things, and our parents are feeling, I think, more taken care of than ever, so, in their kids. So that's really nice to see, and so I wanted to thank her publicly for the work she's doing and all the meetings behind the scenes that she's attending to across the district. Also, for us in a high school, in terms of, we're the ones that still have to pump out the graduates and look at those credits. And I really talked to my staff a lot at the beginning of the year of what MDE, if you go on their website, has instead of referring to loss of learning, it's how we can accelerate learning. And so there's strategies and different things that we've mentioned and talked about where we can look at the essential standards that we are teaching for students and really pare it down to the core pieces that we need taught and taught well, so kids can have those skills needed to go from class to class, from year to year, and still be successful with their learning. So we are looking at those. We spent a lot of time at the beginning of the year doing that, and so teachers are working through that now to make sure that there are activities and things that are pointed to those important areas. So again, we're excited to get the year going. We're excited to see our sports and our athletes get moving along. Guys had a good win this last Friday in football, and our powerhouse of volleyball team, it just keeps moving along. So I know our young cross-country team is also competing very hard, and they're improving as well. So it's nice to see the kids all out competing. And I know that the seniors, they were talking to Mr. Vane and myself about possibly our first Spirit Week coming up the first week of October, kind of start getting some of that school spirit along and getting it back going here at the school. So look forward to that as well. So anything else?
Yeah, I got something. So, according to my middle schooler, when they have their lunch recess time,
Yeah.
right now they can go outside. It's no big deal. But you have a high school PE class going on at that time, so if they are inside, they get
Yeah.
stuck in the entryway out there.
So that's something Mr. Mead and I are going to be working on as the weather starts to change, is how we can do that. And it's one of the things that we've inherently done with our schedule to ourselves, because we have increased the number of electives for PE. And it's so proven that kids benefit from that release every day. And we've offered more classes than we ever have for PE here at the complex. So we've kind of done it to ourselves in a way, but we're going to find a creative solution. We're still working on that as well. But I'm telling you what, people are very flexible about space, and we utilize every bit of it here in this complex. So we'll figure it out at one point, and it's just one of those things. I know the middle school is open during one half of one, but we're jammed up in one area. Yeah, we're working on it. Sorry.
Thank you.
Just a question, and maybe I should know this. You reference the EDP,
Yeah.
Educational Development Plan.
Yeah.
Does every one of our students have one of those?
Yeah, that's required by
Not just
law.
special ed?
Correct. The Educational Development Plan is something career-oriented that students must have and then seek out each year to do a little searching on their own. And we provide them with that experience through what we call an online experience with Zello. Zello has bought out career cruising. It used to be an old term for career cruising. It's a software platform that all students have access to get into and do some research and studying on careers. It's funny you bring that up, Ken, because Mrs. Potson and I were just talking about this 2 days ago about how we are going to start getting into our freshman focus classes and work on that with freshmen and get that going. And then she revisits it with classes, typically our English class, as they go up to sophomores, juniors, and then our senior year. And
So at what level does this plan start, like as a freshman then?
they should have started it in 8th grade, and that's one thing as we continue to bring on new staff, we're going to continue to make sure to go down as far as we can. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else from Mr. Miller? Okay, thank you. Moving on to the next item, at this time we're just going to have a board, I guess, roundtable discussion. This has been brought up in the past, this topic about addressing the board about the public being able to address the board in another manner besides right here. And so the thought, there's been the idea out there, I guess, was the main one was maybe a group email with no response in that. And I guess if any board member would like to, I guess, voice their opinion on good or bad or other options, the floor is open.
One of my focus, I think, has been to improve the transparency of the board. I think we've made some good progress on that. I think other than at the microphone, I think there has to be a way to have the public communicate with the board and to be able to express their feeling or whatever. And I think obviously the optimum would be for them to come and speak, but in all reality that does not work for everybody. It never will. So I think with some guidelines and with some controls, and I think a group email to the board is totally appropriate. And I also think that when that effort is put forth to communicate with us, just like they do here, I think we owe them a response. If someone takes the time to either speak here or communicate, I think we owe them a response, not individually, but as a board, I think we owe them the courtesy of a response to whatever they brought to our attention. That's my opinion.
I took the liberty of reaching out to MASB and Brad Banasic, who's the legal counsel there. I have concerns with that, just with potential Open Meeting Act violations that could occur. He did agree that could open up some concerns, and he too was concerned with that. The other thing too is you want to be mindful of is if someone emails or responds to the entire board or sends a message to you, even if you don't reply all or if you just reply to that person, I think it could give the perception that you're speaking for the board and not speaking as an individual. And I think you need to be careful of that, because that can definitely cause some issues.
Did they give any recommendation on what would be a good option?
He did not, no.
I mean, my perception would be that it would not have a response option to it. You know, the board members would not be able to respond back to this person. I'm interested in where's a potential Open Meeting Act violation? I'm just curious of just having somebody email you. I'm interested where that would come in.
If board members start talking to each other before the meeting and discussing the item before the meeting, it potentially could be. He stated a case on that, Ken, and I can share that with you, that he had that. I apologize for not bringing that with me.
But that would be true for any issue. I mean, not just an issue. I mean, the board on any issue cannot do that. So I don't know that this email arrangement would heighten that exposure any. I mean, we're bound not to do that anyway. And I personally feel that opening up some communication with the public via email doesn't increase or change our responsibility not to do that. I personally feel that that would be a rather remote risk, and certainly not any greater than any other discussion that we might have as a board.
I guess for myself, I personally have reservations for allowing this, just because we all know it's way easier to write things we probably shouldn't, as opposed to standing up here and speaking. It's way easier to type something out, and maybe most of the time it's probably going to be appropriate, but there's at times where it's not necessarily appropriate. Whereas if they were to stand in front of us, it would probably be different.
Could we ask the MASB, kind of approach them with this question and see what they might recommend?
Sure, you absolutely can.
So I would agree with Kevin in that I do think that people need to be able to communicate with us. But the part is, I experienced this just last week. It's much easier to do something behind a written word than to face you face to face or to pick up the phone. So I do see where that will probably, oh, I'm just gonna sit here and I'm just gonna blast them and type, and they would never come up here and say that maybe to our face. You know, and with everything going on with still the pandemic, the things that we're seeing on the news and all that kind of stuff, I think we could be inundated as well with certain things of, you know, if it ever does come to mandates or vaccines or masks or et cetera, I think we have to consider the communication that's done to the board in other ways, but I think we also need to put some limitations on public comment as far as timing and all of that thing, because I've seen that go haywire too.
Anybody else have any thoughts?
I think too, if we open it up to emails at any time, people ain't gonna step back and say, ooh, here's a little more information that they didn't have. Or they get it from somewhere else. You know, they're gonna fire off their feelings right now. And then it's gonna be sent. And then, whatever. I mean, not that it's gonna get shared anywhere, but you're gonna have multiple emails that, you know, with a phone call to the office or whatever can be solved, I think, but then they're gonna take that opportunity of, it came up today and I'm gonna voice my opinion now. Whereas if they have to step back and wait, they'll gather some information and, oh, yeah, okay. That kind of pushes the pause button if it's not that. Just my feelings.
Probably a better control of emotion, standing up here.
I didn't understand what you said now.
Probably a better control of emotion.
I don't have a problem personally if someone needs to unload on me. I don't have a problem with that. I think, I would rather have them do that to the group than to do that to individuals via the school email. If someone needs to unload, even though it's unclassy or might even be untrue, I don't have a problem hearing that. That's part of communicating with the public. If they might be dead wrong, they might be nasty, but I personally don't have a problem with that. If they got it off their chest, I think that's a good thing. I'm not bothered by what they might say. I'd rather say it to us than say it in the community.
Okay, I guess we've got difference of opinions there, but I guess we'll keep looking into that and probably discuss it at a later date. At this time, we'd like to move on to our action items. Action item A is to approve Bruce Copeman his 2021-2022 contract. I guess, Scott, if you could just elaborate a little bit on each one of these.
Yep, so Mr. Copeman did retire last year from McBain schools. We posted the position and had it posted for quite a while, all summer, and it is still posted with no applicants. Mr. Copeman agreed to come back and work with us part-time for 4 hours a day. We teach 4 sections of woodshop.
And is he still coaching basketball?
We'll have to talk with him about that.
Okay, all right.
Would this be outside the negotiated contract?
It is outside. It still falls under the union contract. However, had to finagle some things to get him to come back, and the union has voted on and agreed to his letter of agreement.
Good.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Action item B is to approve Tim O'Malley for his 2021-2022 contract.
Yep. So Mr. O'Malley retired from Cadillac Schools. We had 2 open special ed positions. We were able to fill one. We were able to reach out to Mr. O'Malley late summer and see if he'd be interested in coming back, at least to McBain schools, to come back to the teaching profession. He too has agreed and has a 4-hour contract where he's teaching half a day. And we have also, the union has also agreed to his letter of agreement as well.
Okay, is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and that passes. Action item C is to approve Ingrid Herwire 2021-2022 contract.
So Mrs. Herwire, we reached out to her as well, as we have Mrs. Thomas and the permit that she's using to teach with special ed. She's not allowed to sign IEPs for students. So we contacted Mrs. Herwire if she'd be interested in coming back, and she decided yes to support us. So she's working with Mrs. Thomas with special ed, holding IEP meetings, writing IEPs, and kind of mentoring and helping her with that. And she is on an as-needed basis at an hourly rate.
Okay, is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Do we gotta have a motion?
We need some motions.
Oh,
Motion.
I don't think we have a motion on the
My
other two
bad.
either.
Yeah.
Okay, so do we have a motion for action item C?
Motion. Support.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Action item D is to accept Hannah Feaster hire recommendation.
Yep. So Mrs. Feaster did resign her position last school year and has decided to come back when we had our postings. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mrs. Rodeball, but she's in a special ed parapro this year, and we're excited to have her back as she's fully trained and ready to go.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion and support. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Action item E is to accept Donna Mulder retirement letter.
Yep, so Mrs. Mulder has decided to retire and has driven a school bus for 25 years. So she has had a great impact on kids' lives, and we're sad to see her go, but wish her well in the next adventure.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Support.
We have a motion with support. Is there any further discussion? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item F, to accept Michelle Hill hire recommendation.
Yep, so Mrs. Hill is teaching middle school science. She comes to us, did her student teaching at NMC, but has done teaching with, I believe, in the Misaki Conservation Club does a lot of excited to have her.
Make a motion, we approve that recommendation.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Action item G is to accept, can I say Josie? Is that how you, is it Josephine?
Josephine, yeah.
Josephine Lowe, hire recommendation.
Yep, so Mrs. Lowe will be coming on as a middle school special ed parapro for us. She has been working in other fields, but is a McBain graduate and is excited to come and be a part of the Rambler team.
Motion.
Support.
Okay, we had a motion and support. Is there any further discussion on this one? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Action item H is to accept Mindy Bode hire recommendation.
Yep, so Mindy has been teaching, she's taught in Montana, and she has also taught with Houghton Lake Schools, as well as she taught last year with Edgenuity, which was a virtual online platform. She'll be teaching high school science for us, and Dad is actually a graduate from McBain Schools.
Make the motion.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Action item I. This is to approve the October board meeting to start at 6 p.m. instead of our regular 7 p.m.
Yep, and this request was made by Scott Hunter with Baird, Cotter, and Bishop, who will be talking to you about our audit that he has completed. He has many schools that he has to present at, and they all are on Monday evenings at 7. So he's asked if we could move ours to 6, and he'd be able to present. I didn't want to put that off any further than what we had to.
And that's October 11.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Make a motion to change the start time to 6 p.m.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
We'll do the appropriate postings on that.
Action item J is to accept Judy Genema retirement.
Yep, this was a late addition to the agenda. I apologize for that. Mrs. Genema has decided to retire at the end of the month, and she has taught for 30 years. So that's made big impacts on kids' lives that are never ending. So we thank her for her service.
Which grade? Or, oh wait, she's high school, isn't she?
Middle school science.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to approve that.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passed. And that concludes our action items. So now at this time, we'd like to open up our mic for any public comment. I'm guessing there probably ain't going to be any tonight. So next will be a board roundtable. So if there's anybody up here that has anything on their mind, I guess if they would like to share, now is the time.
I mentioned last month, I plan to attend the MASB conference in November. I don't know what the procedure on that is. I don't know whether I need to ask for board approval but I do plan to attend at least a portion of that. It's in Grand Rapids. November 11 through 14. I won't be attending all of that, but it's got some good stuff in it. So I don't know what the process is to, if I have to get approval, or I'm not sure where we go on that.
I wouldn't think you need board approval. That I guess would be a board decision, but I've not had that experience before. Just let the office know and we'll be able to pay for the conference and
Okay.
get you set up.
All right. Everybody good with that?
Yep.
All right. Other thing I have, and we talked about this last month again too, Scott, at what point will the spending plan for the COVID funds draw together? I know it's kind of a herd of cats right now, but
Yeah, ESSER 2 just opened up last week.
Okay.
Dylan and I kind of talked about about that last week, about prioritizing some of those for technology and phone systems and different things like that. ESSER 3 has not opened yet. I had
Okay.
heard that it's supposed to open this week, but they've said that for several weeks. So there was sent back because some of the Michigan's plan did not meet the federal requirements, so there was kind of a delay on that. But that must be sorted out if they're opening it up this week. So
ESSER 2, was that the 499,000?
I'm assuming so. It's not the
We
larger
spent
one.
part of that already.
Yeah, we already spent
Right.
part of that, bought the computers and different things like
Right,
that.
okay.
So
Okay.
we've been kind of going over the old, I shouldn't say old, but the past bond proposal and seeing if we can take some item off of that to help approve that.
My thought was, which I said last month, was that when we get into the three then, I'm just interested in what the format is going to be for getting input, board participation, staff participation, community priorities. I'm just concerned that we're very transparent with that, that everybody gets their input as to how that should be spent, because it's a one-time shot. You know, and I'm just concerned that we have a wide open process as how that gets prioritized.
Yeah, I can foresee working with the staff and administration and what that looks like, but then also bringing the executive committee on board for them to look at and then presenting to the board of kind of the priorities. If you have too many people involved, a lot of times nothing gets completed. But as I said, it's not even open yet for us to do that. And we do have to spend 20% of that ESSER 3 on learning loss and inclusion, and so that's quite that's a
Yeah, yeah.
so we want to make sure that we have a good plan for that, so that we're using even that 20%, that we're just not throwing it at something, but that we have a plan that also can impact us down the road.
I just have a couple kudos. Scott, I've gotten comments from the public and just seeing you at sporting events and seeing you in the parking lot. You cannot imagine how much of an impact that has made to our community. So thank you. You know, just seeing you out there is just, I mean, it's just huge for our community. So just thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
And for all of the staff with the pickup and drop off, I know that was a little crazy the first few days. I tried to send loving text messages to a few people to just say what could maybe be improved. And by day 3, you guys had it. So just kudos to everybody. That is smooth. It's safe. I know you had a team of the board members that worked on that, but change is hard, and and to have that, and the first day was a little crazy, but you adjusted so quickly and just knew what needed to be done, and it's safe, it's fast. I mean, Mr. Wisner will say I'm the one blowing in here at 2 minutes to 8, but that's okay, and it's duck and roll and pearls out the door, but it works really well. So I just commend everybody on that.
Thank you. It's an ongoing topic of discussion. It seems like on how we can continue to make it better, but the team did a very nice job with that.
Yeah.
Mr. Knapp did a nice job with that as well.
It is, pickup is always going to be slower. That's just, the way it is, but it's going really well, I think.
Isn't I've heard things on the preschool too, very good things. Anything you can share just in general on that? Not a lot of specifics, but.
Yeah, it is going well. It looks like our enrollment is kind of starting to level off a little bit. We are still getting some calls for that. We'll start having a preschool report as well, starting next month. Right now, everything else was still kind of going on with preschool and figuring things out. But yeah, it is going well. Our Rambler time in the afternoon is going well. It seems to be right around 20 to 25 students of K-5 that continue to go over. Mr. Knapp also wanted me to share with you, send you a calendar invite because I don't have the times yet, but October 20th, they're going to do the dedication of the Little Wheels.
Okay.
A little bit of a follow-up to that. Obviously, this has been Howard's emphasis for the last little while. Is there any thought process going on beyond that with him particularly? Or we're under contract with him through the first part of November. Has there been discussions about it? Anything more for him or?
No, there has not.
Okay, all right.
Pat, you good?
Good.
Dennis?
Just one thing, the last thing in your report, maybe I should have brought it up then, but is there any way we can adjust our graduation so you can be there? We're 9 months away.
That would be a McBain decision. I was already asked if I could change MESIC's graduation date, and I don't have that anymore. So I would hate to do that if families have already had plans for that. I guess we can ask around and see what we could do. I mean, let Mr. Biller and I talk about it. I know it's always usually set in stone that I believe in McBain, probably the same date every year, that Friday before Memorial Day.
Yeah.
I can do some checking, but that might be.
I'd be in favor of it, maybe.
It might be canceling cow camp or something. I know I don't have that authority.
Doug?
I'm good.
Karen?
Good.
Okay. I'm good too. So I guess,
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Support.
any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is